Hey guys, super excited about this episode. We've done a deep dive. It's a very interesting caffeine related product, and I've put together mock-ups for micro improvements. I think you like them, and Lorenzo's, as usual, come up with some three brilliant ideas. Stick around, and I think you'll enjoy the show. Take care. Hi guys, we are back with this is a different type of episode. We are going to do something called a deep dive, and what this means is that we're gonna like really in great detail look at a topic. And I've actually gone ahead and made some mock-ups and stuff like that, and Lorenzo is going to share his ideas, but we're going to kind of riff together. We have not seen each other's ideas intentionally. We wanted you guys to have the same experience that we have when we are recording the episode. And if you're ready, we can get started, and I should start off by talking about, hey Lorenzo, how's it going?
Good. Let's get started. I'm excited about this product.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a fun one, guys. So we will reveal to you what it's about. This is the product. It's called AeroPress, and it is a coffee maker. And the images are very clear. You can clearly see what the product does. You can see it in action. There's video here as well. And I know Lorenzo's a big fan of the mobile view. Certainly, the mobile view is also very important. But just wanted to give you an idea as to the layout of the page. They have a small description here for mobile and desktop, and then they have product details, which is kind of minimized by default. And I'm sharing this because you'll notice in my concept I've done something slightly different. And then over here they have they have more images, and they kind of make a perfect cup. They have some social proof, the Verge, blah blah blah. There's an animated GIF. I'm a big fan of animated GIFs. I think it makes it so easy for the buyer with a low investment to see the product in action versus having to watch a video. And
Yep.
I actually think it's a very efficient way of communicating ideas. And here they're kind of showing a comparison of how they compare against to other brewers. And then it says, be your own barista. It's a very simple page, convenient coffee without waste, what's included. And then they have their reviews. Lorenzo, is there anything I missed? I want to add a couple of points, but
No, absolutely not. There's an interesting link below the product drop down. Need help. Scroll down.
oh yeah. Oh wait, sorry. There we go.
Need help brewing, which I thought I almost missed. But it's an interesting one because it takes it to a video that shows the different steps.
So I think that's a great point. I really like this kind of call out. To your point, I feel like the way this is visible, they should have given a similar treatment to make this stand out. But one thing that's interesting for those of you who are watching this episode who have not had a chance to look at the website, what's really fascinating about these guys is here is an example of a website where the depth of their content is very, very deep. And however, their product page is very, very simple, very minimalistic, very much to the point. But Lorenzo and I actually looked behind the scenes. We went to the other pages. We kind of did some digging, and we find that there's a lot of content. There is a lot of video content, a lot of great video content, a lot of written content. This product is actually a cult phenomena, and I think it's really interesting. And you'll see this when I walk you through my concept. I think this is a really interesting scenario. Lorenzo and I spoke about this before the call. Products that have a cult following, there is so much momentum that's already going into the business that even if they didn't do everything correctly, sales will keep on coming in. So just to give you a practical example, if I have an AeroPress and if I love the product, which people do, it's a very good product, people seem to love it a lot. I am doing word of mouth on behalf of the company because I'm making coffee for my friend. It's again, I think Lorenzo's spoken about this before. There are certain products that are very visual, like making coffee is a social thing. And so if a friend comes over, it's a conversation starter, like, oh, what is this? Oh, it's the AeroPress. I love it. Oh, really? Oh, and then the person will look for it. And that person who's already had coffee that's made by the AeroPress, first of all, they would not be looking for it if they didn't also enjoy the coffee. Plus, they have the social proof. My question to you is, why am I reading reviews now? Why am I looking at how-to videos? Why am I looking at, what are the credentials of this company? I don't need persuading. I've already tried the product. Now, the interesting thing, though, is from a marketing perspective, if a lot of your sales are coming from that channel, then it's easy to fall for the trap to say, well, our product page is really simple and it's not hurting sales. Therefore, the thesis is that we don't need a complicated product page. And I kind of disagree with this because it depends. I think as a marketer, I'm really focused on the people that are not buying from me and understanding why they aren't buying from me versus studying the behavior of people that are buying from me and saying, let's do more of that. Because a lot of that, more of that stuff is actually outside of my control. If, for example, if there is a blockbuster movie where AeroPress was prominently displayed, we're going to get a shit ton of sales because of that. More of that. What do you mean by more of that? You want to find other blockbuster movies where you should feature your product? I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. So I'm more interested in people that came to the website and rejected my pitch and didn't buy to understand like what's missing there. So with all of that exposition out of the way, I'm actually going to show you my concept. And what I have done, guys, is I have done a series of micro improvements. So basically what I've done is I've deconstructed the page, which means I've looked at every single element of that page. And then I've said, okay, what strategic change would I make at this location? What strategic change would I make at this location? And so I'm going to actually show you a mockup we've created where we have incorporated all of the changes in one mockup. So this might make it easier for everyone to review it. And Lorenzo, since you're seeing this for the first time, please, on behalf of the audience, please stop me and tell me like, hey, this is unclear. So let's get started. I'm quite excited about this. So I'm going to obviously look at the mobile version of the page, and this is the default state. So what the first thing we've done is between this headline, so this is what the users are seeing, and here are our micro improvements. So between this headline and these reviews, I'm actually adding a question. Guess how many units we've sold. And there's a guest drop down over here. So one of the things that I like to do upfront is that before I start thinking about how to improve a website, I'm actually trying to find out what their hidden assets are. And one of the assets I found out about these guys is that they have a crap ton of sales. And I couldn't find that on the product page. And so I was like, you know what? Not only will I bring that information to the product page, I'm going to actually gamify and dramatize that. So there's a drop down over here. And then when you click on the drop down, it gives you these values. It's 100,000, 300,000, 1 million, 3.2 million. Now, lots of interesting things are happening over here. First of all, most people are going to default to 3.2 million because they're going to say like, obviously it's 3.2 million. Why else are they asking me this question? But something beautiful has happened here. If the statement had said that if the statement was a simple statement that said we've sold 3.2 million Aero Cups, a couple of things would happen. First of all, people might not register that information because it's like, whatever. And then the other one is that they might discount it because they might say like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. But what we've done here is this way, I guarantee you their recall, their memory of this is going to be much, much higher because they have actually done some interaction to get that number. So what we've done is I'm showing you two scenarios. If you pick the wrong number, like 1 million, it says, oh, it's a little higher than that. And then that message goes away. And then when you select the right number, it says, bingo, 3.2 million. So I'm confirming to them. That's how many people in 82 countries. And then I've shown the US flag being our biggest market. I want to show you what we've done here, guys. This actually is conditional code. So what we've done is we've said that if the person is in the US, then you show this statement. If the person is outside of the US, then you hide the statement. So if you were suppose in Italy, it would say that's how many people in 82 countries enjoy sweet coffee that AeroPress is able to extract. If you're in the US, we want to play on the fact that you're in America. So we're kind of saying America flag being the biggest market. So again, it's a very minor improvement. I'm not suggesting that this one thing is going to have a 10% improvement in conversion rates, but I think that this is what we mean as a micro improvement. So Lorenzo, before I move forward, any questions?
Yeah, no, two thoughts. So first of all, the reason why they have a very little number of reviews on the product pages, I think they have like 400 reviews, even though they sold millions of units, is because until I think a few years ago, maybe like a couple of years ago, the company was still owned by the inventor. We'll talk about the inventor in a bit. And he's like 80 years old guy who basically like focused only on third-party reseller strategy in the offline space. And then I think like a year or two ago, the company got acquired by a private equity firm that, you know, is obviously like a super good at digital. And that's why, you know, for example, they have like 8,000 reviews on Amazon. So, you know, even though they only have 500 reviews on the product page, it's a massive, they sold a massive amount of products.
Well, that's really interesting because I actually didn't know this point, Lorenzo. So thank you for sharing that. Let me just see if I can resize the windows. All right. So let's see what else. Let's see what else I've done. So we've kind of made notes about every change we've made. So, and Lorenzo, let me know if this is zoomed enough. I can zoom in further.
Yeah.
So in the default state, like I mentioned, the products was actually collapsed. And I realized that this is very little copy. I don't think there's much of a risk in actually opening up the product details. So not only did we open up the product details, we made a bunch of changes to the product details. So I'll show you what we did. So there are two principal changes. So in our concept, product details will be open by default. Again, this is a micro improvement, but I want to show you further micro improvements we made inside. So over here, it says no acidity, bitterness, or grit. Rapid brewing eliminates bitterness and acidity. Right there is a stumbling block for me. For a very specific type of buyer, they'd be like, well, how, right? And I wanted to like talk to this person specifically. So I added this parenthesis with this hyperlink. Wait, how is that possible? Someone who doesn't care would ignore it. Someone who doesn't care will notice this. And then it says, while microfilters remove blah, 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 while microfilters remove the grit typically found in other presses, goodbye French press. This is an image I inserted. This was not there on the thing. I found an image on the web because I'm trying to visualize that grit that they're talking about. And I also made this a picture story. So because of the way devices like French presses are designed, fine coffee grinds end up at the bottom of your cup. So not only am I reinforcing that message, but I'm also showing a visual. So this was not there in the control.
Love it.
How is that possible? So when you click on that, we show this content as a pop-up. What makes AeroPress coffee so sweet? And I want to just zoom back a little bit here and say something very interesting. One of the choices that I made, and I will actually cover this in my summary at the end of the document, but one of the choices that I made was I realized that this is a very inventor specific product, and the product page actually doesn't really focus on the inventor as much. You have to go outside of the product page for that. I wanted to, this guy is a really cute old man and he's so full of personality. I wanted to make him the star of my story. So I actually brought him back into the story. So it says, what makes AeroPress coffee so sweet is the short wet time. It's enough time to make a brew with very rich flavor, but without the bitterness that long brewing processes produce. All of this copy we wrote. I got it from watching the video. I kind of typed it out. I sometimes say the history of coffee. Now, notice I use the word I, because I want to immediately make the person feel like they're having a conversation with someone. They don't know who right now. I sometimes say the history of coffee making has been ever shorter brewing times. 100 years ago, people boiled coffee with water together for an hour. So I've actually put this statement here. This is from the video, but I've left it in because I really like how it's kind of showing in my mind. I can see like how coffee making has evolved over the years. And then I inserted this image and I added this headline, Alan Adler, the inventor of AeroPress. I think it's a very simple image. It doesn't look, it's not overworked. And I think it shows a very cute guy. So anyway, that's what I added. Any questions, Lorenzo?
Yeah, so a couple of thoughts. The first one is, so I actually started researching a little bit about the founder. Not only he's the inventor and obviously the ex-owner, because now he sold the company of the brand, but he's actually a professional inventor. You know, his background is in inventing products. He has over like 40 patents of a bunch of products. So it makes total sense to bring him into the picture as the class. And I have something similar, just, you know, in terms of idea, but it makes 100% sense as the kind of person that saw a problem into the market, you know, a problem that he faced himself and wanted to solve that problem with his you know, ability to create and invent products.
Perfect. Yeah. I'm gonna quickly breeze through. I'm gonna breeze through this. I don't want to take too much. I know you have your own ideas. So essentially, so we've opened the product details, and then also below this, we have some copy here as well. And this copy is also the same as the original copy, but I want to show you something we've done very interesting. So over here, we've added this call to action, want to meet my inventor. This is intentional. I'm trying to animate the product and make almost like the AeroPress is having a conversation. So when you click on it, we show this pop-up, and it's got a headline, and it's kind of showing exactly how he brews a single cup. And so this comes over here. Let me just kind of go back here. Sorry, this is a little tricky to explain. So that's what we added, and then the video is what we added. This was not there either. Now let's come back to the lower half of the page. I want to show you something very clever that we've done. So over here, you see the image, and we have this headline. But over here, we are conditioning. You notice over in this concept over here, so a couple of things have happened. Number one is, you see the word smooth coffee. We actually, in our concept, we underline this, but we underline this conditionally. And what I mean by that is that this content, so you see this link over here, Lorenzo? I'm sorry if I'm confusing you, but if people click on this link, then that lower reference, this is not made into a link. If they don't click on it, we are now repeating this because they've already missed it. And I think it's a valuable asset. So it's a little complicated to see, but when you click on it, we show the same pop-up. So the same pop-up is showing conditionally for people that clicked on it. Does that make sense, Lorenzo?
Yeah, nice.
Also, what we've done over here is we've embedded the video we've embedded the video over here, as you can see in this mockup, but only for people that didn't watch the video that was referenced earlier. So the people that didn't click on this, they'll actually see the embedding video. If they did click on it, this will not appear. This will be exactly the same as it is in control.
I love the title of the clip of the video where
that's right. Yeah. So we did that as well. That's right. So we want exactly right. Perfect. Now let's look at something else. So right now, what they're doing is when you click on see how to use it, we're taking you away from the product page and we're taking you to a completely different page. One of the principal rules that I have is that always bring the content to the buyer, never take them away. So what I want to do is when you click on this, we actually expand out this content and we reveal this. So it'll show this, it'll show these images, and it'll kind of end over here. And then after that, if you notice in our page, we're already showing the comparison table. So instead of taking people away from the page, we're actually showing the comparison table here. One of the other things that we've done, I don't know if that's, if you actually might have to show you on the page. Let me see this. So this is a very small micro improvement, but actually we increased the font size over here just to make that text a little bigger. So I don't know if you can notice it, but this is again an example of a micro improvement. The CEO might argue with me like, Rishi, are you trying to tell me like this is going to improve my conversion rate? No, of course I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that if we can make the font size bigger and not break the design, why not do it? And this is classically the definition of a micro improvement. Also, what we've done over here is we have inserted at this location, we've inserted this video. So again, we made a new pause screen over here because our thinking was that we like to always, as a marketer, you're always co-locating related concepts. The person who's looking at this is someone who's trying to understand how does this product stack up against the competition. So this is the perfect place for us to show the video. Notice that the play button was moved to the left so there's small changes we've made that most people won't notice, but we've added this video over here. What else have we done? So you'll notice another very interesting thing. In the control, let me show you this. Do you notice how small this content is? What's included? It's almost impossible to read. So I had my designer make this much bigger so you can see all those elements. I don't see the value in showing something that's so small. So what we've also done, this is important, is that in the control, it's showing up right at the bottom. And I just felt it was too low. So I wanted to include it much higher on the page. Okay, what else? Final set of changes. So be your own barista. After be your own barista, I want to always like include as much as I can about the founders. So what I did was at this location, I found a magazine cover where it's called, I guess this is a magazine, Coffee Lovers, and he was actually featured in the 35th episode. I thought this was such wonderful social proof. And so we're just embedding that image over here. That's all we're doing. I believe I covered everything. That's it. It's pretty simple, but I think that the reason I'm sharing this is because I just want people to understand I didn't have a big idea for this project. I literally just made a sequence of micro improvements. So that's it.
Cool. I freaking love it. It's interesting because you focus a lot of different things, and I have to say, I focus on 3 ideas, and one of them is actually similar
Good.
to something that you came up with. So I'm
And
gonna
actually, Lorenzo, before you do that, I just want to mention one thing I did forget to mention. I actually just want to give people I know a lot of you guys who are watching this are like, oh my God, this has just been a brain dump. So what I want to do is I want to just give you a quick summary, because I made a summary statement over here. And I just want to quickly share that, and then I'm done. So, all right. So shine the light on the inventor and make him the hero of our story. He looks like a lovable mad scientist grandpa. Make sure diggers are able to learn more about the sweetness of the coffee. That was one of the attributes that, if you notice, I put conditional links for, because I think it's one of the very strong in the videos. They actually talk a lot about the fact that this is not bitter coffee. On the product page, just mention it, but I don't think there's enough content for the diggers. So I want to make those clickable links. Gamify the social proof, so the number of units sold. Use conditional logic so that key assets like the demonstration, like the video, was made visible, which I talked about. And then keep the user on this page. You'll notice in the control, they take you away from the page if you want to get more information. I wanted to keep you on this page. That's my quick summary. And Lorenzo, it's back to you, my friend.
So as always, I did customer reviews mining, which means I basically went into customer reviews. I eyeballed around 40 reviews. I wanted to learn the most popular themes around what type of benefits people got from the product, what were the anxieties, and so on. And looking at the results here, one of the top themes that came out of the analysis, like, the product is easy to use, right? And the way I think about this easy to use benefit is, because the benefit is being mentioned a lot, as a benefit, it's something that also some people could be thinking as an anxiety, because it's a new product, it's a new invention, right? It's a new way of making coffee. So the question is, the anxiety is, well, how does that work? Will I be able to use it? How difficult is it to make coffee? First thing you do when you wake up in the morning is you drink coffee. You don't want to like make something super complicated, right? That's why the Nespresso machine is so fabulous, because you just press a freaking button and he makes coffee for you, right? The other thoughts that we sometimes forget it, but the image gallery always gets 100% visibility rate. And what
Especially for a new category, right, where people have never bought this kind of a machine.
Absolutely. And so what happens is that the first image that people see gets 100% visibility. So I wanted to tell a better story in the image gallery. I'm going to show you guys in a second what the image gallery looks like. So this is like the default image that it's in the product page. And then, it's just like normal kind of like image that showcase the product and so on. And then in the middle of it, they have a quick video. It's like 9 seconds video that shows step by step how to make the coffee, which makes total sense since it's a completely new way to make the coffee, right? So I basically focused my first idea is to basically focusing on improving the way you tell a story with product images and product videos. So in particular, what I've done is, when you play the video, I added this kind of like a small banner that basically describe what the woman is doing,
Correct,
while she's making the coffee, right? Because I wanted to show people exactly step by step how it works. Next to it, I bet you didn't see that, but next to it, I put 2.03, because one of the major benefits that people spoke about was how quick it is to make coffee. It takes only 1 minute. So I want to show to people that it literally takes less than a minute to make the coffee. I actually watched a lot of different videos of different people making it, trying to make it, and it is super short to make, right? So I wanted to add that detail. Obviously, the second step would be, you have to twist the cap and so on. So at every single step of the video, I want to add this little banner. Now, talking about the images, as I said, the images, they're super plain. They just show the product, right? And what happens is that the user, especially if the user has never seen the product before, the user arrives on the product page, goes through the image gallery. I'm like, okay, what is this? What are all these pieces that are being shown, right? So, what I've done is I basically added, again, just a small banner that speaks to what's in the image and the benefit of that. In particular, this is called the chamber. Like this part of the product is called the chamber, and it's got numbers on it. So you always know how much water you need to pour when you make your coffee, right? And obviously, I've done it only for one image, but the plan is to make it for all the images.
I think another change you made, Lorenzo, above, if you go back to the live page real quickly, just the live page.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, the video play button.
You're right. Yeah, because I wanted to obviously draw more attention on the video, to show people that it's a video that they can play, right? That's the number one idea. The second idea, so obviously, when I look at and this is not surprising at all, Rishi, obviously, in the top 3-5 benefits that people spoke about in their reviews is that the coffee taste is great. And nothing surprising here, to be honest. When I saw like on Amazon 4.9 reviews on average, like, okay, that's a great product. It must be making a good product, good coffee. Now, have you ever been, Rishi, in an espresso store, like offline espresso store?
No. I have not a branded Nespresso store, but I've been to a store that sells Nespresso machines.
I always go there because I get free coffee. Every time you walk in, the first question they ask you is, hey, do you want a coffee? Which makes sense, right? They want you to try the product to see how it tastes like, right? And the reason why they do it is because taste matters. When it comes to, you will never drink a coffee that taste is disgusting, right? Like, doesn't make any sense. It's like, why would you buy a pair of shoes if you think that you look ugly with those shoes, right?
Correct.
Unless there is a specific, kind of purpose for the shoes. Maybe you're a construction worker that uses those specific type of, super protective shoes. But usually shoes, you buy them because you look good on it. Obviously, if we think about the purchasing experience offline and online, one of the biggest differences is that online, you can try the coffee. Like, there's no way, right? So I thought that one way to overcome this is to basically talk about why the exact reason why the coffee taste is so good. Okay. Here's the concept that I came up with. So basically what I've done is I've added one drop down. As you can see, I wanted to have this section to stand out much more. So I made it in orange. I also opened it by default. As you can see,
you put it above product details, which I think is a genius move, because you need to kind of address this elephant before you talk about the details of the product. I love it.
Exactly. And also I added a read more. Just because I didn't want to like open it, like I didn't want the entire drop down to be super open. I just wanted to add more. And then what I embedded here is a video of the inventor that talks about why he invented the product, for which reason, meaning that he tried a lot of different products, different type of coffees in the past. He couldn't like the flavor. So the reason I added a copy here that says, discover what frustrated me about the taste of coffee. And why in 2004, I came up with a better invention that makes coffee taste great, right? And in that video, he explained how, like, the whole story of how he came up with it.
I love the headline. I love the conversational tone of it. It feels like you're talking one-to-one with the inventor. I just love that. Very good.
Yeah, because I thought, like, okay, if we say that it tastes great, obviously that could be interpreted as, oh, it's the marketer talking, right? While if we tell the story about how it's possible that now the coffee taste is great, what kind of improvements the founder, the inventor has made, I thought would be more credible and more trustful for the users. Let's talk about the third idea I have here. So I was reading through reviews, Mining and Rishi, and I basically read that a lot of different people were using the product for a lot of different type of coffee, for a latte, for an espresso, for, iced coffee and so on. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I come to the product page. The first images I see, and the video as well, it's mainly about showing how an Americano or espresso looks like, right? So if I come on a product page and I see that and I don't drink Americano, right? I'm out, because why the hell should I buy a product for a type of coffee? It's like saying, I want to buy a supplement and they don't have the flavor that I like. They only have vanilla and I'm allergic to vanilla. What do you think I do? I get out of the page, right? Like, because I don't like that. What I wrote here is, doesn't matter how cheap, right, the AeroPress product is, how amazing the coffee taste is like, or how easy it is to make it. If my coffee routine consists of iced coffee and I only see images and videos about normal coffee, what do? I'm out. I leave, because this is not the way I drink coffee, right?
Unless if you're a very motivated buyer, in which case you'll dig and you'll find this stuff. But again, all optimization is done for people that don't have that degree of motivation, right? So I think your point is well taken.
So my thought here is that these users would have this like, let's say again, you're a bunch of users that don't drink Americano, but they drink like iced coffee or latte. Now the question is, wait, I'm only see photos and content about Americano. Will this work for my latte? Or will this work for my iced coffee, right? There's always this anxiety going on in the brain of the user. So here's my idea, okay? So what I've done is, I thought all this section, this image, this headline, and this sub-headline was okay. It wasn't really adding so much value to the page, because we already have a bunch of images that display the product and the coffee in the image gallery section. The copy was okay, honestly, Rishi. Doesn't look like an amazing copywriter put them together. I'm not saying mine is much better, but what I've done here, I removed that part completely. And I wanted to try to address the objection or the anxiety around, oh, will this work for the iced coffee?
And I think this, I want to add something here. Sorry to interrupt, but I think this is a very important detail. I really like the fact that you made a choice to eliminate something in order to add something. I think every CRO needs the courage to do that, because I think we always fall for the trap of saying, I'm just going to add more to the page. And actually, you're watering down the whole experience for people. I think the choice you've made is good, because now we can run an experiment, and if it's not a good outcome, we know why it's not a good outcome. You must always, so great call.
Yeah, and another thing, you come up with a good point. One thing that you could do here, because again, my hypothesis here is that this section in the original page doesn't add any value. Okay, so I would even run an experiment where you're completely removing this one from the picture, from the page completely, without even adding this one yet, because I want to see how much actually value this part is driving into the path to conversion. But my point here is to completely remove this part and basically adding an image that showcases that the product can also be used for latte. Here are other images that I couldn't find for, iced coffee and so on. But the plan is to add a mini gallery here for other type of coffees.
And another idea, Lorenzo, I know you didn't explore this, but one of the hypotheses might be, like in your experiment, your hypothesis is that the type of coffee that the buyer is buying is so important for them. Therefore, the pay. So I would actually, the way I have a drop down on the top, I would say, how do you consume coffee, and then personalize all the copy on the page for that. But that's a future experiment,
Smart.
right? This is a
Smart.
MVP version.
Smart. Yeah, because I actually saw that as a question in the FAQ section
Okay.
on the website. So for sure, it's an anxiety and a question. But simply I added like, a headline and a supporting sub headline here. It says you can brew an espresso, an iced coffee, or a latte. And I actually saw some people mentioning that they even use it for tea. And I actually looked it up on Pinterest. There are some photos of people using the product with tea as well. And then I added copy here that says very simple. I just came up with a quick one, but it says whether your coffee routine consists of a strong and rich in flavor like an espresso, or a smooth and a mildly sweet latte, or a smooth and refreshing taste like an iced coffee, AeroPress can make it. Okay. And then I added one specific, like this sentence has a very specific meaning. I said, it's perfect if your family members have different coffee preferences, right? What happens is that, again, you might use the product for Americano, but what if your husband or your wife drinks it drinks latte, right? Now you're buying one product that is good for both of you guys. So I wanted to add that as a detail.
It's a very good call.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got, Rishi.
Brilliant. I really liked it. I liked all your ideas. All three was it three, right? Three really good ideas.
Yeah.
I really liked it. Thank you for sharing that. And I think we've covered everything. Guys, let us know your thoughts about these ideas. At one level, I've made micro improvements. Another level, Lorenzo has made strategic improvements at a few very key locations, focusing on a very very important selling angles. Tell us what your thoughts are. Tell us, please. My suggestion is that study the page yourself and then see what kind of ideas you're coming up with, and then write us a comment. We love comments. And we will be back with another deep dive episode in very soon. So let us know what your thoughts are, and share and subscribe if you haven't. Take care.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.